A new-look Iowa men's basketball team debuting in front of the media this summer during workouts. One player notable who was not there, who was missing from the fray, Spain's Alvaro Folgueiras, the Robert Morris transfer. He was overseas over in Greece taking part in the U20 FIBA EuroBasket event. We'll talk about the results, what we learned from Alvaro's showing over in Greece in just one moment. But first, a big thank you to our guy down in Mitchellville. We talked about his great artwork yesterday, and he will have a special live signing event with authentic Hawkeye artwork featuring a couple of well-known names, including Angelo Ferrari, Stephen Buchanan, wrestlers at Iowa. They'll be at the Hy-Vee in Iowa City, Coralville area, the Lantern Park Hy-Vee to be exact, in Coralville, August 17th, 3 to 4 p.m. Be sure you're there to get your authentic Hawkeye print signed by none other than Angelo Ferrari and Stephen Buchanan. One more time, it's the Lantern Park, Coralville on August 17th, 3 to 4 p.m. We appreciate Under the Kitchen. So Alvaro Folgueiras wrapping up his trip to Greece, the event taking place over the last week, and Spain did not play very well. A couple of close losses. The team ended up going 2-5 overall. Here are some team results for you. They lost to Israel twice, lost to Slovenia in their final game in a close loss, lost to Poland, lost to Serbia. They did beat Finland and the Czech Republic. Their only two wins in this entire event. So nowhere close to being champions of this event. I'm a little bit surprised. I'm not a guy who follows World Cup basketball, FIBA basketball, but Spain has produced some unbelievably good pro basketball players, and Alvaro Folgueiras is on his way there. But this roster was missing a lot. And interestingly enough, there were only two other current college basketball players that were a part of the Spain roster, and both of those guys, neither of those guys, I should say, were big point producers at their respective schools. Alvaro Folgueiras really stood out in that regard. Now, he finished the event in those 7 games, second on the team in points per game at 12 points per game, first on the team in rebounds per game at 10. So he did average a double-double, second on the team in assists, second on the team in blocks. He did lead the team in turnovers, though, averaged 4 turnovers per game. Now, his best performance was his last game out against Slovenia. You'll see some of the highlights here. He went 9 of 14 from the field, finished with nearly 30 points, 28 on the night, 2 of 2 from 3, 17 rebounds. 17 rebounds. Impressive day for a guy who struggled. I mean, the whole team struggled, right? But it seemed like Alvaro, the last couple of games, finally got his feet under him, especially that last game against Slovenia. So that's how you want to finish things off. Unfortunately for the team, they were not able to get a win. Again, the team finishes 2-5. Some takeaways from some of the tape you're seeing during his time over in Greece. Man, he really likes that corner three. Now, he did not shoot the three ball well during this event. I kind of alluded to that earlier. Shot just 21% from three. Now, keep in mind, he shot 41% from three last year during his second year at Robert Morris. He did average nearly 10 rebounds a game, as I said earlier, 9.7 to be exact. But he really did struggle from behind the arc, and his best moments, in my opinion, were when he dribble drove off of those corner looks, and he's always looking for cutters. That's one big takeaway just from watching his Euro tape. He's constantly looking to pass the ball, and that at times results in turnovers. But how about a 6'8", 6'9" guy who can stretch the floor from three? Again, 41% last year at Robert Morris from behind the arc, but can also drive off those spots. He can post up. He's constantly looking for his teammates, and he has the ability to make those passes. He's a very good passer with good vision. So it is hard. I mean, trying to read between the lines as far as the competition in this event, the other teams that were in play, plus adding in the fact that, you know, most of his teammates are professional players, young professional players over in Spain. And he was the second leading scorer, the best rebounder by far. It's just hard to really gauge what we saw from Alvaro. It's clear he struggled. Numbers-wise, he struggled. And I went back and combed through some of the game logs for Alvaro Folgueiras last year at Robert Morris, something I really didn't do when he initially committed to Iowa. I did talk about his tape during his sophomore season for Robert Morris. But one thing I looked at in those game logs and saw, he really was a bit up and down. Now, it was just his second year at Robert Morris, but he seemed to really be a guy who would either go for 30 points or 25 points, or he'd go for 8 to 12 points. He averaged 14 on the season, but it's not like it was a consistent theme between 10 and 20 points per game. And I would rather that, right? Especially for a guy who's coming in and probably going to be counted on as Iowa's second leading scorer. I mean, I think there's several guys who could compete for that role behind Bennett Sturtz, but certainly I would think with the acumen Alvaro Folgueiras brings over, that he would be that second leading scorer. He should be their leading rebounder as well. It's going to be a fun team to watch because there's just so many different types of pieces, but I do think he's got a chance to be their second best player. But I guess my big question still is consistency. And boy, he took a big jump with offensive production, his numbers overall from year 1 to year 2 at Robert Morris. So no reason to think he can't make a similar jump, although he's playing at a much more difficult level. I think what Iowa needs the most out of him is consistency on the offensive end. And he gave it to Robert Morris last year from behind the arc, but just overall production numbers, I don't know if it's a lack of assertiveness. It's kind of hard to see that on tape when you're going back and looking at the film for a guy like Folgueiras. Is it lack of assertiveness in some games? We'll see. I thought he was pretty assertive in that game against Alabama in the NCAA tournament. He certainly was assertive in that game against Slovenia. And it wasn't like he didn't try to be assertive in the other games. He just shot a really poor percentage. So maybe that's an indication, and this is a good experience for him in these 7 games, where really the load was solely on Alvaro Folgueiras to be the guy for Spain. And at times he was last year for Robert Morris as well. But I believe it was Cam Woods is a really solid player out of Robert Morris. They had a pretty good team. Again, made the NCAA tournament, competed well against Alabama. But those are kind of my takeaways from this short event over in Spain. And it'll be good for Iowa to get him back in the state and back with the team for workouts. But Iowa's certainly going to need his versatility, especially on the glass. That's one area where, boy, Iowa's teams really struggled down the stretch of the Fran McCaffery era. Just getting rebounds, and certainly defense, but getting rebounds. Folgueiras is not the best athlete, but he does have a knack for using the glass effectively in a number of different ways, in scoring and in grabbing rebounds. So, folks, appreciate you being here. Just a quick synopsis of what happened over in Greece with Hawkeye incoming transfer, Alvaro Folgueiras. Again, we're going to continue to count down the days to football, provide coverage around the clock right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Hit that like button, folks. Thank you for being here, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.